Long queues, scarce cash. Day 14 since demonetization kicked in. What is the public mood? The opposition says people are furious, they are inconvenienced, they are being made to stand in queues for their own money. So the Prime Minister has decided to sidestep the opposition altogether and go directly to the people. Now there are 10 questions which you can answer, and based on that, the public mood on this reform will be gauged by the government. But the question is that if the public opinion is adverse, what next? Will there be a rethink on demonetization? Will there be a rollback? Here's the story.
प्रधानमंत्री पार्लियामेंट में क्यों नहीं आते? पार्लियामेंट में आके क्यों नहीं बोलते? टीवी पे बोल सकते हैं, पॉप कॉन्सर्ट पे बोल सकते हैं, पार्लियामेंट के अंदर क्यों नहीं बोल सकते?
Amid the growing chorus demanding for him to speak in the parliament, Prime Minister Modi tries to strike a chord with the public. Launching a survey on the Narendra Modi mobile app, urging people to rate the demonetization move. The questionnaire, comprising 10 questions, asks people what they think about the government's move to tackle black money. Right on top of the app, you find a Share Your Opinion tab. You click on it and it takes you to the demonetization survey. First things first, you select your language. First question, do you think that black money exists in India? You go for yes. Do you think the evil of corruption and black money needs to be fought and eliminated? We go for yes. Overall, what do you think about the government's moves to tackle black money? Now, this is a sort of a wheel tracker which gives you 4 options. One is bad experience, could improve, it's okay, and finally, brilliant. Now, what do you think of the Modi government's efforts against corruption so far? Now, again, you have about 5 options. Very poor, poor, don't know, good, and very good. The Prime Minister's move hasn't gone down well with the opposition. Coming out in the Prime Minister's support, BJP leaders say it's a move to understand the Aam Aadmi's problems.
अपने आप में एक बहुत बड़ा कदम है और मैं समझता हूं कि ये दर्शाता है कि हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी और सरकार जो है वो लोगों के साथ वन टू वन रिलेशन कायम रखना चाहती है.
ब्यूरो रिपोर्ट, इंडिया टुडे.
Well, do make sure you make your voice heard on that survey. The government also took stock yet again today at a meeting of all the party MPs. The Prime Minister got emotional talking about what he called is the opposition's attempt at misinformation. The meeting ended with the members passing a unanimous resolution backing demonetization. Of course, the Congress asked if the Prime Minister feels so strongly about the issue, what stops him from expressing those emotions inside Parliament.
मैंने घर, परिवार, सब कुछ देश के लिए छोड़ा है.
Facing relentless attacks from the opposition over demonetization, Prime Minister Modi choked momentarily as he offered to sacrifice his life for the country at a rally in Goa 2 weeks ago. On Tuesday morning, the Prime Minister got emotional again, this time at the BJP parliamentary meet in the capital. As the opposition begs for his blood, demanding that he speak in parliament, Narendra Modi declared that his decision to ban old 1,000 and 500 rupee notes was for the poor and that the opposition was misleading the people. The Prime Minister's emotional outburst, however, failed to move the Congress.
लेकिन ये भावुकता का प्रदर्शन केवल अपनों के बीच में क्यों करते हैं? जनता के बीच में जाके करें.
He has an amazing control that he can laugh when he wants, he can cry when he wants.
With the opposition deriding the Prime Minister, BJP went on the offensive.
Rahul Gandhi is making Congress party cry a lot.
This isn't the first time that Narendra Modi expressed his emotions so openly in public. The Prime Minister has broken down in the past too. At Facebook Town Hall in California, Prime Minister Modi delivered an impassioned speech talking about the hardships his mother endured.
माता जी है, 90 साल से भी ज्यादा उम्र है, गुजारा करने के लिए वे अड़ोस पड़ोस के घरों में बर्तन साफ करना, पानी भरना.
Similar scenes were also witnessed in the parliament in 2014. Bowing his head to the audience, an emotional Modi addressed the joint session of parliament for the first time as a prime minister. Now, with both the sides trading ugly barbs, even ridiculing each other, the gloves are off over the demonetization battle. Bureau Report, India Today.
Well, the opposition parties are demanding answers, as is the country. So what is more important, a statement from the Prime Minister or answers to all of those questions on demonetization? Why isn't a debate being allowed? Joining us now from the Congress is spokesperson Sanjay Jha of the Aam Aadmi Party. We have Saurabh Bharadwaj. Hopefully we'll be joined by Shazia Ilmi in just a bit. Sanjay Jha, do you want to debate on demonetization? You have questions you want answered?
Padmaja, let me tell you that as on date, from what I read last, roughly 70 innocent Indians have died since Mr. Modi's demonetization drive was announced, in a dramatic, kind of an entry by him on television screens on November 8th. Who's going to take responsibility for the death of innocent children, for aged men and women? I mean, it's callous, it's an extremely disinterested.
Okay, but my question to you is, shouldn't you be asking these questions of the government inside Parliament?
Theatrical act.
In a debate that you should allow to happen?
Well, let me tell you, valid question, Padmaja, but let me tell you that Mr. Prime Minister Modi was the one who was aware of the demonetization drive, right? He claims that even his own ministers were not aware of it. But isn't it the responsibility of India's chief executive to come on the floor
No,
of
actually he hasn't claimed that. Mr. Rahul Gandhi claimed that.
Not just the Congress party, but all opposition parties are asking of him.
Finance Minister, let me get Saurabh Bharadwaj on this. Saurabh Bharadwaj, you don't think the Finance Minister is equipped to handle questions on demonetization?
Padmaja, I haven't finished. Let me make 2 points.
Yes, go ahead, Saurabh Bharadwaj.
I think, if the opposition, I think it was not the finance minister who announced this whole scheme. I think Prime Minister took a lot of pride, while coming on the national television at 8 p.m. at 8 o'clock, and he has been continuing his rhetoric in all his, political speeches across the states where we have elections coming in. So, I think it's a responsibility of the Prime Minister, and Prime Minister is accountable to the people of India, to the Parliament, and the Prime Minister has always been avoiding interviews, press conferences. He just does one-way communication. When he is on a stage, he will say something from the loudspeaker so that nobody can ask questions, nobody can, he doesn't have to explain anything. So this is not a kind of thing which happens in
survey on an app which is being conducted. Isn't that exactly the kind of feedback that you are saying that he will get inside Parliament? Rather than get your feedback, rather than get feedback from other politicians, he is taking the feedback of the people who matter, which is the man on the street.
I think then you are defying the whole concept of parliamentary democracy. I think the people have been elected to the parliament because they are representing a certain set of people from different constituencies. That's why you have parliament. That's why you have sessions. You can always get the feedback through surveys. But then what is the need of parliament? You just throw it away. Just Prime Minister.
It's great that you bring up that point, because then my counter question to both you and Sanjay Jha, ministers, to answer your questions. According to you, only the Prime Minister matters. Everyone else is secondary or incidental, isn't it?
I think no. No, I think it is the stubbornness and the arrogance of the Prime Minister that he is not coming into the House. You have a House running, and it's not 365 days you have a House of Parliament. At very rare occasions you have pre-decided House House coming up, and the Prime Minister is busy in making political rallies. I think he should be available in the House. That's a very valid question. This is not, something unreasonable to ask for. He should be available in the parliament. Even if he is not responding to the questions, he should listen to the parliamentarians. That's why you have a parliament.
Okay, so Sanjay Jha, if the Prime Minister does not make a statement, now your new goalpost is you don't want just a debate, but you want a debate with the Prime Minister present. If he is not present, you don't really care about whether your questions, people's issues are answered or addressed or not.
Padmaja, let me tell you that Mr. Modi has been extremely, shall we say, brazenly violating the sacrosanct nature of Parliament. He comes and he has enough time to make a video conference speech in a rock concert. He makes an internal, tearful demonstration of his crocodile tears in an internal party meeting. But he has no time to address, and this is the opposition. For God's sake, Mr. Modi should recognize that 31% of the people voted BJP, 69% of the people did not vote for the BJP. I mean, there has to be some degree of political responsibility. There is a consecrated sacrosanct parliament. They are all representatives of the people of India. And Mr. Modi is the government, he is not the country, and he needs to recognize
Absolutely,
that.
And since you're talking about that population which has voted for him, and in a while I will get Shazia to answer that question, but
what can be more grave?
From a layman's understanding, doesn't it then make sense for him to communicate with that very population which has voted him in power? Not parliamentarians, which is why on 4 occasions since demonetization, since the 8th of November, he has spoken to those very people.
Well, let me tell you one thing, Padmaja. He's only been doing election campaign speeches. Even on the day when you had that ghastly train accident, he was in an election speech on the same day in the same state. So, end of day, we all know where Mr. Modi's master strokes come from. The truth is that every member of parliament is representing a constituency of millions of people. And when they are in parliament telling the Prime Minister, please come and speak, because the demonetization has resulted in over 70 deaths, and think about the inconvenience it has caused. There's been a slump in business. There are larger questions being asked. I mean, I live in Mumbai, in a highly cosmopolitan city, but I can tell you when somebody from my office went to get some money from an ATM, and this is in the commercial capital of India, the ATMs have been dry.
Okay, so let me ask Shazia Elmi that. Finally, she is through with us. Shazia Elmi, if you had the Prime Minister announcing this very ambitious scheme 14 days down, why can't he answer the questions that his fellow parliamentarians are asking him in Parliament?
Well, it's not either or situation. There is Prime Minister who's addressing all the problems, not just to the parliamentarians but to everybody. And there is his entire team. There is an FM, there is a Commerce Minister, there's the entire team in the Parliament. But the Prime Minister is addressing through his people everything that needs to be said, and also connecting directly. But just to get, just to have something vindictive sorted out here is just to get a Prime Minister. The Prime Minister is doing what he has to do, and is doing it rather well. I think every scheme that is being announced, every correction that is being made, every kind of misgiving or misapprehension that has been expressed is being addressed. Why this insistence on just the Prime Minister?
Sanjay Jha?
Prime Minister has done his bit and is doing more. He's addressing the Parliament through his people and to the public at large. It is not a mutually exclusive situation.
Okay,
Parliamentarians are also people. Why this insistence on just the Prime Minister? Prime Minister will come, he said what he had to say, but he will not say anything so different from what his team is saying.
All right, let Sanjay Jha respond.
Team, entire executive.
Okay, let Sanjay Jha
respond. Question that the parliamentarians have
Sanjay Jha.
Padmaja, I have read reports that terrorists are now carrying fake monies. There are reports of people who are actually, getting violent on bank officers. 11 bank officers have died on account of huge stress. And you have a Prime Minister of India who says, I don't have to speak in Parliament. I want to ask this question of the BJP representative here. What is inhibiting, what is the Prime Minister so paranoid, apprehensive, or scared of? These are fellow parliamentarians.
You're making too much.
You have to answer the people of India. You cannot send a representative to a TV studio to shout down other people.
Yes, that's exactly what he's doing.
I mean, I fail to understand that in a functioning democracy, why is the chief executive of India in hiding? Why he doesn't even tweet about what's going on? I mean,
is he in hiding, Shazia Elmi?
Problem of a massive magnitude hitting the people of this country.
Shazia
Does he
Elmi
know that? Is
no,
he even
I think everybody is seeing the Prime Minister everywhere. People are reaching Prime Minister directly. So it's a bit of a joke. is
You
bit
want
of a
to do
joke
an
when Sanjay Jha
app-based
says
survey?
that and
How
makes
many
this
people,
extremely
Shazia, if we have
elaborate,
smartphones in India,
cloak and dagger
how many
story
people can
about what
download
is
apps?
happening.
How
I'm
many
sorry,
people
sir,
can really
none of what you
respond to
said
a
is
survey?
even remotely true. First of all, Prime Minister is there, out there, along with the entire team of people, be it the secretary concerned, be it the finance minister, be it the entire executive or the RBI governor.
Okay, Saurabh Bhardwaj wants to come in.
What have you? Two, if the idea of the parliamentarians is for the Prime Minister not to speak to people, but to score brownie points,
nobody knows
do
where
some
is the RBI
obstructionist
governor.
kind of
We haven't
politics,
heard a word
just for
from
the
him.
argument for argument's sake.
The RBI should take responsibility.
No, Shazia, the argument being made is that when the Prime Minister addresses the people, and I want to bring in Saurabh Bhardwaj now, when the Prime Minister addresses the people, it's an address. It's not a dialogue. And that is not enough for something so big. Saurabh Bhardwaj.
Don't you think Prime Minister should go all out there, address the people, address all their concerns,
I think
get their
Shazia
feedback,
is still speaking.
work on it and make it better.
Okay, Saurabh
Make
Bhardwaj.
it easier,
Saurabh
make it
Bhardwaj.
smoother, the transition.
Okay,
the
let Saurabh
transition is a
Bhardwaj
tough
pose his
one.
counter question.
I think
Saurabh Bhardwaj.
this is not
So
the,
suffering
I
has
think
caused
this
a lot
is,
of suffering, but it's also a
this
huge
is
thing.
not
It's a
the first
huge,
time.
massive exercise in a country like ours.
I agree, it's a massive exercise, which is why a dialogue, not just an address, perhaps is needed. Saurabh Bhardwaj.
okay, he's so busy in his election rallies. One of the reasons which is talked about in the social media is that, there is an application pending in the Supreme Court. It's coming on 25th of November, where, the documents which have been recovered from IT, Income Tax Department, they are telling about bribes being given by Sahara Group and Birla Group directly to the Prime Minister of India while he was the Chief Minister of Gujarat, and probably Prime Minister is apprehending that there may be tough questions waiting for him in the Parliament, because he has always shown his image as a very honest politician, and now people have started doubting it.
Shazia?
No, I really couldn't hear very well.
Okay, Shazia, the simple question is this. The announcement was made by the Prime Minister.
Can you repeat
so
it
if there
for
are
me, Padmaja?
misgivings on the part of people, they would want to hear from their Premier again and have their elected representatives cross-question the Prime Minister. They want to hear it from him.
Of course, they'll want to. They are hearing from him. Prime Minister has been extremely vocal. In fact, because opposition parties want to play some kind of politics, but dragging Prime Minister, they're not allowing Prime Minister to speak people at large. And Prime Minister is going out there using every forum that there is. He will also come to the Parliament and speak. As of now, whatever is being said is being addressed by his team, the Finance Minister, the person in charge, and all others. The Home Minister is there, the Commerce Minister is there. What is his insistence on the Prime Minister?
All right.
I mean, Prime Minister is heading the government. A big step has been taken. His team, his lieutenants are out there.
Okay, Sanjay Jha will give you the reasoning behind that.
Arguing, explaining, and making things very clear. I'm not able to get. Is this what we are discussing? Why is the Prime Minister not this thing? Should the obstructionist opposition be obsessed with now nailing the Prime Minister instead of addressing an issue and getting tough answers in a tough situation at this point, which will be the death knell?
Okay, so let the so-called obstructionist opposition answer your question. Yes, Sanjay Jha.
Don't you think there's bigger concerns?
Yes, Sanjay Jha.
This obsession with the Prime Minister.
Let him answer your question.
Seems to be
getting. Let him answer your question, Sanjay Jha. 30 seconds to you.
Shazia, can you just listen for a minute, please?
Okay, Sanjay Jha. Yes, go ahead.
Padmaja, the Prime.
No, I've been listening in.
Padmaja, let me tell you, the Prime Minister personally comes and broadcasts to the nation. He is personally responsible, therefore, for the questions that the opposition is asking him. And it is not just about the operational and governance failure, the number of people dead and the number of people who are actually going through humiliating experiences. There are larger critical allegations. Were people aware of the demonetization? That is one of the questions the opposition is asking. That there are allegations. Shazia, can you please listen to people?
Fear-mongering and rumour-mongering.
Shazia, please do not interrupt. There are allegations of people being aware of the demonetization drive. There
And I
was
can give you
spectacular
details of the
rise
deaths
in
that have
bank
happened.
deposits.
So
Okay,
please
so
don't
again, so this has
exaggerate.
degenerated into a
Only
shouting match, but a very simple point that was being made is that if there are questions that need to be asked of the government, can the debate at least be allowed to start instead of repeatedly the goalposts being shifted, and eventually perhaps the Prime Minister will also come in and participate. The government has committed to a debate. At least let that begin. We are on day 14. There are still unaddressed issues in demonetization. For now, thank you very much Shazia Ilmi, Sanjay Jha and Saurabh Bhardwaj for having joined us on 8 p.m. Quick break now. Coming up on the other side, the big story of the day. Again, Pakistan has indulged in a misadventure. 3 of our Jawans martyred in Machil. One of them was mutilated. How will India respond? India First with Gaurav Sawant coming up next.